Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Miami Stock Exchange. My name is Ivan, and today we're going to be analyzing levels for the Nasdaq and ES futures. These levels will be used for the upcoming week of June 9th to the 13th, respectively, and of course adjusted accordingly throughout the week. We're going to be analyzing levels, checking them out, and just being aware of the news, earnings next week, and be mentally prepared. That mental preparation. Today's Sunday. It is June 8th. We're getting ready for tomorrow. Time is of the essence, so may we begin right now. We're going to be looking at the Nasdaq weekly chart to begin with. Okay, here we are. Looking at the Nasdaq, we can see that lately the market has been on the weekly chart quite reasonably bullish, but it still keeps on rejecting under this area. These are weekly levels that I have plotted today. Switching over to the daily chart, we can see right here that the market has some levels to worry about, such as this high right here, which is the 21,900 level. You can see that it has rejected pretty much 3 times thus far. This is an all-time high that the market could potentially get to. 21,575 as well as 21,200. Interesting. It's important to get into a smaller time frame to see more vividly what occurs. So we're going to load 500 days and we're going to look at this. So let me show you guys. We know that the market has been doing an uptrend slowly but surely ever since it hit the lows from the Trump tariff fake news, the all-time lows, went all the way down to 16,500, right? So pretty bearish. And then the market started slowly going higher, and we're now at the point, which is quite interesting, but we're at a point that the market seems to be quite like it wants to continue going higher. And we can see that over here we're at a zone that the market can reject, and it's like, if we look closely, the market has been in this kind of zone ever since literally May 13th, and it's been exactly nearly a month, and the market seems to establish a new zone. So instead of being in a zone between this area, now the market is chilling in this zone. And resultively, it still wants to reject. And this is a kind of like a psych level because it's the 21,890, 21,900 level. And this level right here is the 21,560, which is a level that we have been looking at for quite some time. The market is still near this level. So hypothetically speaking, the market can still chill in this zone. And this could just be a one big zone that the market could be chopping from 21,900 to 21,200. 800 points, that's quite a bit. We can see that even here, these highs and these lows all have been rejected many times from this level, 21,200, as well as here. It's a high from here, mid area, middle. Here we can see this is a high, this high. So there are some noticeable existing highs and lows on the 4-hour chart. Moving to the shorter time frame, we could look for potential intraday levels. Some intraday levels. I mean, they apply. Like it means like the zone is 400 points. That's still quite a bit. Short-term levels to place. I would potentially think that a level that we could go for would be well, if we move back here, what was the key level here? Looks like 21,730. 21,730 could be a short-term level to look at. One moment. Okay, so let's carry on. Let's check out ES. All right, so Nasdaq. We'll carry on. Let's check out ES right now. The SPY 500 weekly chart. ES seems to be more bullish rather than the Nasdaq, as we can tell the uptrend. Quite of a reasonable uptrend, and we can see that there's quite a bit of a channel that the market's kind of in. Like I imagine this 5900 and the 60 to 30 as like a large zone that the market is in, and if it ever does come back to this area, it could bounce from here, but that's so long term, right? Daily chart might show us more efficiently on what is going on. See, it broke above this high that the market has been channeling through. So it's above this, and it's still kind of touching. So this is the 6,000 level, 6,000 even. Another level is the 5835, which is a level that's this high, this high, this low, this low. So many areas. Low, high, low, low, high, low. And here we can see that the level that we're touching as of right now is, one moment. We can see that the level that we're touching as of now is this level. And you can see that there's reaction here, reaction around here. All these reactions. This I would consider it a zone because this is kind of a choppy area. This is of course highs. So I would say that still more or less we are in a channel around here. One big channel just like the Nasdaq. So the 6,000 level even, as well as the 5840 / 5900 level. Okay, so let's close that. We're in a channel, guys. We still are. That's the truth, and that is something that we just simply stay patient with, analyze, and accept any outcome, adjust accordingly, and learn. Enjoy the learning process. China consumer prices slump again, deepening deflation worries as demand stays weak. Not the most positive news, I'd say. Not the most for show. I like to show now here is the earnings for next week. So the only things that I do see is Adobe. Let me make that more clear. Adobe and GameStop. And that's pretty much it. That's all there is. Looking at the news, let's check it out. So tomorrow, 10 a.m., final wholesale inventories. Nothing much this day. Core CPI on Wednesday, as well as core PPI on Thursday. Consumer sentiment on Friday, ending the week off. So I'd say there's still some sufficient news later on the week, on Wednesday to Friday. But for Monday and Tuesday, it's kind of chill. There isn't going to be too much. And that confirms the fact that we most likely will be in a zone, respectively. Of course, we don't want to assume, right? And it's important to just enjoy the art of trading. That's what I always say. And something that like stuck to me, something that I want to say is that trading with people, like if you're, well, I don't know if you trade by yourself or if you have someone else, but something that I've noticed, like as a leader myself, like I like to lead in business, in places that I volunteer in school, whatever, even in trading. If you ever play a game, let's say you're playing Counter-Strike, right? That's what I've been playing lately. And I just noticed, like, when the team has something bad that happens or something, like when there's bad things going on, one person gets angry, starts blaming the other, and then that one blames this one, and then some other guy is blaming this one, and then just a whole escalation. And it's just people are getting tilted. And that's something that I think has a very similar lesson to in trading. Like that's something that should be avoided. Like if you're trading with somebody and let's say you took a loss, no need to spread your negativity to someone else, right? Be wiser about it. Maintain a positive attitude, even if you're by yourself. It's all in the mind as well. My mind sometimes goes against me very much, and you could either be you can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. Okay? There's you don't have any larger enemies or any better best friends than you yourself. I myself, for me, I am the only one who can be my best friend, as well as I can be my worst enemy. That's the truth. Applying a stoic and just a mindfulness mindset into the market, being positive to yourself and trusting the process. There will be losses. That is in the game of trading. That's a part of it. Trades should be taken with definition, with your setups, and be consistent about it. So, I would like to thank you guys very much for being here this evening. It's important to analyze the market, and I've gained more confidence. I have levels on my charts, fresh and clear, and these levels, of course, will be adjusted, I'm sure. But I look forward to coming into the market with a positive attitude, prepared mentally, ready to take trades and take money from the market. I'm pretty tired. About to play one game because, family is family. And then after I play, I'm going to go to sleep. Have a wonderful night, everybody. See y'all tomorrow. Adios.